Guests now from Friends of the Village, or Pat Wilkinson and Bob Hatch. Friends of the Village, tell me a little bit about the history of this club, how long it's been around, and the mission of it.
We started in 2009, about 12 of us, and our first meeting was in May of 2009. And United was going through a recall election at the time, and we thought it would be a good idea to get information out to the community so they could make, informed decisions about their voting. So we established a website and had meetings and what have you. So I think we helped in the community at that time, and we continued over the years to do that. So we're hoping this will continue and keep getting the truth out for the community.
And Bob, before we came on, you were telling me that you don't often have regular meetings. In other words, I should say these open type meetings where you have invite people to come there. You have your board meetings, but every once in a while you have these sort of special type
We've
meetings.
sort of been standing by to see if there are any special issues in the community that maybe needed to be addressed, and then put together a program to hopefully inform people, give them proper information, let them decide a direction that they choose.
Okay, and just to mention, I'll mention it afterwards as well, that this is coming up very shortly on November 4th, and you're going to have this at Clubhouse 7. It starts at 5:30. The doors open. The meeting starts at 6. There'll be refreshments there in a no-host bar. So, and the title of your meeting, or the topic, I guess I should say, is "There is a Crisis Brewing in LWV." So tell me a little bit of, Pat, I have some of the subject here you're going to talk about.
Well, I might
okay, I'll let you
intervene
go
on
ahead
that.
and do that, Bob.
I think that that announcement was made hopefully to get people's attention. We are very concerned about the climate within the village. There's always been contention, but it seems to us that this is the most severe that we've witnessed, certainly the most severe I've seen in the 10 years. So we have a commitment to try to get peace in the community, and one way to do that is to make sure that information that's factual, understandable, is given to our residents. One of the great concerns today is the misinformation that's distributed electronically. It goes like wildfire.
Right.
And it's impossible to correct. While you're trying to correct something, 4 more of those things have been put out. A terrible example, and I don't like really talking about this, but I'm going to, because it's significant. We had an email that was originated by an unknown party that accused one of our directors of Third Mutual, who was a treasurer, of a felony of stealing money from our treasury. In that, he endorsed several third board candidates who had no part in the planning of this, no planning in the distribution. Nonetheless, the message went out, the damage was done, and after the case, the 2 candidates set forth and said they had no part of it. The problem is the damage was done. We really have to stop that kind of behavior. It's totally unacceptable, it's illegal, and it's the kind of thing that could sink our ship, so we have to stop it. So our mission is to restore civility and provide factual information. It's not easy because a lot of our issues are very complex. Our program on Monday is going to include the recreation plan. There have been some very recent modifications that are going to be very significant. We hope that the new directors of United Mutual will attend, because many of them are very new. They're not familiar with many of the subjects that we're dealing with today. One of the major issues today is the direct election of GRF directors. It's an important issue. People have to know the pros and cons, honestly, before taking a position. Outsourcing is another thing. It sounds really good. It does have advantages. It also has disadvantages. People have to understand those pros and cons. And very importantly, we have to understand that sustaining our community is the single most important thing we've got to do. Each of us have a responsibility, not just for me today or you today. It's for my neighbor who may be here longer than me and the people who are not yet here. We're going to include a roundtable discussion at the conclusion of the presentations, which I think people will find very informative. So Pat's going to speak a little bit about our participants.
Okay.
Sure.
Marty Rubin is from United, is going to be the moderator, and he's very proficient at this. He's done it many, many times. He's also a former member of United Board, several times, I think. Bob Ring, who's our mayor, and also the president of the Historical Society, is going to be a speaker, and he's served on third board in GRF. I don't know, multiple times, yeah. And he's also very busy getting the book for the 50th anniversary together, so it's a huge job. He's an amazing, he's a Renaissance man, this fella. Cynthia Connors is a former president of Third and is city council member for 2 terms. Right. She's a practicing lawyer. Hillel Pillick has served on numerous boards, and he's been the inspector of the elections, I don't know for how many years. He also assists with AARP and the tax assistance program here. And Marv Rosenfeld is the former United director, and he's presently the vice president of GRF. And he's also on the Recreation Ad Hoc Committee. Right. So we have a good group, and they're all very knowledgeable about the community and very, very anxious to explain all these different issues that we're talking about. So it should be very good. And the round table will be led by Marty at the end of the program.
All right, a lot of good subjects.
Yes, that's right. Sorry about that. We've got two Joan Millman and Lucy Parker. Are going to be putting on a skit in the very beginning, which is, it's kind of a takeoff on what the village might look like in 2023 if certain people have their way. And so it's quite fun. So we're hoping it will start the meeting off in a very light and fun way. And then we'll get into all the serious stuff.
All right, I think that's a good way to start the meeting.
Yeah.
You know, you mentioned how, and this has been talked about before, different projects that have gone on over the years, and quite often it is brought up that, well, we're doing this now, but we're also looking ahead to keep this community thriving, new people coming in, and, you know, times change as far as, especially when you look at the overall recreation plan. And you know, you said that how you got to look ahead and keep things going, and people may or may not view it the same way, but time and time again, the overall thing is, well, look at the truth behind it, the facts. If you're for this or against it, at least base your decisions on what the facts are.
Yeah, each of us have an obligation to our neighbors. My interest is subordinate to my neighbors, plural. I may be here for 3 years. My neighbor may be here for 10 or 15 or 20. So I shouldn't shortchange my neighbor because I have a shorter term interest in the community. I have an obligation. All of us have an obligation to perpetuate this community. And I think maybe that's the most misunderstood concept of a common interest development.
And the other thing is we've been here for 50 years.
Yeah.
And we're still a very viable community. And the governing of this community has worked. Sometimes, you know, we've had problems. We'll always have problems. People have problems. But in this case, we've had an incredible 50 years. And we should be very grateful for Cortese and the way he set everything up in the beginning, because it's worked.
Yeah.
And to try and make major changes in that governing system is taking a chance that maybe most of us really don't want to do. But we need to understand what's involved in making any changes. And that's what we're going to try and do.
Right, exactly. What's been going on a little bit here, when you mentioned the emails and the comments going back and forth, in a way, it's sort of a reflection of what's going on in Washington, what's going on in general.
Unfortunately, it is. That doesn't make it right.
No.
It has to stop. Somehow it has to stop.
Yeah. Well, this is a good meeting that people can go to, and I know you invite everyone to attend.
We want everybody to come.
No matter what their opinions are, and this way they can get up and maybe say what their opinions are, and either hear a different view or you hear their view on it, and say, well, you know, we understand what you're saying, but here's the facts here. Please base your views, right or wrong, whatever side you're on the facts, and then go from there.
That sounds reasonable, Ken.
Yeah.
At this particular meeting, it's going to be strictly informational. We're not going to take any audience reactions to it or questions this time. We'll be following up with meetings coming up, at which time there will be a regular town hall set up. But this
Okay.
is strictly informational. There's a lot of information to get out, so we want to do it in a easier, quieter way, rather than getting everybody involved with everybody's opinions. So we can do that the next meeting.
Okay, very good. So again, this is coming up on November 4th, which is Monday, right? Yeah, Monday.
Monday.
If you want to get there a little bit early, the doors open at 5:30.
Yes.
And as I mentioned, there are no host bar, but there will be refreshments there.
Yes.
And there will be a bar there.
And there
Somebody
will
wants
be,
to have
and
a
there
nice,
will be a bar there. Yes.
maybe everybody can have a cocktail and settle
Yeah.
down.
That's right.
Settle down a
Maybe
little
that's
bit,
the way
right.
to start.
That's
All
the
right.
best way
Anything
to-
else you'd like to add?
I think it does it, Ken. We appreciate the opportunity
Yes, thank you
to be
very
here.
much.
Okay, very
We're
good.
looking-
And I understand we're going to be there and televise this next Friday.
I
Yes.
think
Yeah,
that's correct.
No.
not Friday as of
Monday.
tomorrow, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But next week, Friday. So we'll give you the times on that. Thank you very much for coming by.
Well, thank you.
Nice to see you both.
Thank you,
And I know
Ken.
it's been a while since you've
It's
come
been a-
on.
It's been a long while.
It has.
He's
All right.
back. He's back flying.
All right, very good. We'll be right back in just a moment.